fertile soils and mineral-rich rivers of volcanic regions are perpetually recharged and bursting with life, it's no surprise that global bird migration flyaways converge in these areas. A 2013 study found migratory birds carry seeds in their guts over hundreds of miles, substantially diversifying plant life on their seasonal grounds. Seed-bearing migratory birds help transform already fertile volcanic landscapes into hotspots of biodiversity. The fossil record shows every human-like species chose to settle in these areas. Volcanism produced magmatic stones such as obsidian that were used for blades and spearheads, giving humans a fighting chance among the top predators. Snaky rivers draining from volcanic mountains created an almost endless riverbank habitat packed with life. Fish gathered beneath undercut ledges at every turn. The U-shaped landforms were ideal to coral prey for slaughter, butchering, and cleaning. The high population of birds and eggs were yet another food source. Australopithecus fashioned stone artifacts more than 5 million years ago by the Middle Awash River in the volcanic mountains of central Ethiopia, where two global bird flyaways overlap. The busiest bird migration corridor in the world runs through the only active volcanic region of Israel, where Homo erectus used hand axes to butcher hippos at the Ubadia archaeological site by the River Jordan about 1.5 million years ago. The site is just a few miles south of the Sea of Galilee. Tools dating back 1.5 million years were found in the only active volcanic region of India, where two global flyaways converge over the Tamil Nadu. A 500,000-year-old freshwater shell with zigzag markings was found along the Solo River on the volcanic island of Java, making it the oldest engraving by a human-like species. In ancient Celtic and Egyptian cultures, the zigzag was a symbol for water or river. Forensic studies of wing bones and talons found in caves across active volcanic areas of Europe have revealed that Neanderthals had a special relationship with birds. Scholars believe Neanderthals plucked the feathers and removed the talons of raptors to use as symbolic ornaments in rituals. In one case, they removed the webbed feet of a swan. Found across cultures in ancient creation myths, the World Tree was a symbolic map of the landscape where the human story began. The mythic World Tree was the axis that connected the serpentine river system below to the busy bird migration flyaways above. Across dozens of cultures, birds are perched in the branches of the World Tree while a serpent coils at its base, symbolizing snaky rivers. In the American Midwest, the Menominee and Ho-Chunk tribes described a mythic serpent emerging from a lake to form the winding river passage known as the Wisconsin Dells. In Australian Aboriginal mythology, the rainbow serpent burrowed into the earth to create river valleys. About 5,000 years ago, a legend written in the Sumerian cuneiform tells of a legendary king searching for the World Tree to mark the capital of his kingdom. 3 bronze trees of life, more than 10 feet high, were excavated in China's Sichuan province and found to be more than 3,000 years old. Each tree had birds in its branches and a serpent at the base. In cross-cultural creation myths, birds and serpents created humans. One example is the Toltec Aztec Maya creator god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, which applied its Quetzal bird and rattlesnake blood to the bones of pre-human ancestors to make humans. Along serpentine rivers draining from volcanic mountains, where stunning precious stones blinked from the stream bed, where plant, animal, and bird life thrived in numbers and diversity, this is where the Church of Birds was founded. Across ancient and indigenous cultures, people once believed that birds carried the souls of the dead to a heavenly paradise. The concept of soul flight took many forms. In sky burials, vultures fly the souls of the dead to the heavens after consuming their bodies. Practiced at least 9,000 years ago in eastern Turkey and 2,000 years ago in southern Peru, sky burials are still carried out by Tibetan Buddhists. The Celts of Spain believed vultures took the souls of dead warriors directly to the heavens. About 2,700 years ago, it became popular in Egypt to place small wooden statuettes of a human-headed bird on the chest of the mummified dead. The 3-inch figurine represented the basso, which flew in the rejuvenating sunlight during the day and returned to the tomb at night to transfer solar energy to the mummified corpse. In the Greek classic Metamorphoses, Ovid describes the ashes of King Memnon's funeral pyre taking the form of birds. The ashes became a real bird which flew on whirring wings and joined in noisy flight by countless sisters born from the same source. The same imagery is found in Rome, where eagles are typically released at funerals. Birds were also an essential part of Native American burial practices. Human remains were found in the Rock Eagle effigy mound found in Putnam County, Georgia, where quartz stones form a 120-foot-long raptor. Along the Arkansas River in eastern Oklahoma, copper bird effigies were entombed in burial mounds. After sleeping in a pagan church, the Emperor Constantine reported a dream in which the statue of a winged pagan deity transformed into the Archangel Michael, who weighed the souls and flew the virtuous to heaven in early Christian tradition. Constantine's response was to make his dream come true. He replaced the pagan place of worship with the first Christian church, known as the Michaelian. When birds took off on their full migration, some cultures believed they carried human souls beyond the horizon to a heavenly paradise. But what exactly was their ultimate destination? Before the advent of science, no one knew that traveling millions of light years was required to reach the stars. It was commonly believed that the celestial bodies were in the general neighborhood of Earth. From Ireland to Egypt, India, China, and South America, it was once believed that the Milky Way connected directly to Earth, recharging rivers with spring meltwater. The Finnish epic Kalevala describes cosmic migration in which swans fly human souls along the Milky Way to the northern celestial pole. As they approach the pole, a swirling wind caused by the turning bowl of the sky pulls them out of the hole to a heavenly land of rest at the celestial pole called Tuwalana. The celestial pole was the hub of the universe, the only fixed point in the sky, an immovable island outside the cycles of time and the seasons. An axle-like pole was imagined to extend from a sacred place on Earth, fitting into the celestial hub like the handle of a twirling cosmic umbrella, wielding the awesome power to stir the cauldron of the stars. Indigenous cultures from Scandinavia to the Baltic states, Siberia, and North America identified the Milky Way as both a road of souls and the path of birds. The cosmic migration to the celestial pole of the winter coincides with the starbird Cygnus rising above the pole, only to descend earthward again in the spring, when the cosmic swans delivered new souls. It's not hard to see why people once thought swans capable of carrying precious cargo. Other birds thought to bring babies to Earth were the stork in European cultures and the frigate bird in Hawaii. But the concept of soul flight to the stars was only half of a grand vision of the afterlife that included the entire community. While the soul incubated at the celestial pole over the winter, a similar series of events was carried out on Earth. In late October, the souls of the dead were carried by migratory birds to their winter grounds, where ancient cultures around the world built megalithic structures aligned to the winter solstice dawn that incorporated egg shapes into their design. In County Meath, Ireland is the ornate Brunabonye, a 5,200-year-old megalithic mound built on the winter grounds of whooper swans. The dawning sun on the winter solstice still shines down a 60-foot passage into the central chamber. On these hallowed grounds, the souls of the dead incubated inside the ornate mound and perhaps in thousands of egg-shaped quartz stones that were imported to the site and used as fill, like a nest of eggs. At dawn on the winter solstice, the power of the sun's rebirth quickened the incubating souls to their own reincarnation. There were many newborn infants and pregnant women in attendance for the new souls to inhabit on the winter solstice, which came 9 months after sexual intercourse was officially endorsed and encouraged across ancient farming cultures as part of planting season. Every healer in the region would have attended the solstice gatherings. In astrological terms, the divine rays of the reborn sun blessed the winter solstice babies, promising a life of leadership and heroics. Every diviner in the region was in attendance. Tonle Sap Lake in Cambodia is one of the largest wintering grounds for migratory birds in Southeast Asia. A few miles away, the Ovid Canonical Towers at Angkor Wat represent the mythical Mount Meru, where Hindu souls reincarnate. A small temple on a nearby hill has the viewpoint for watching the sun rise over the towers on the winter solstice. On the walls of the temple is the mythical Garuda bird, who was thought to be well versed in the metaphysics of reincarnation. In Maharashtra, India, the Ajanta caves were dug out from a rock face near the Jayakwati Bird Sanctuary, a winter ground for 30 species of migratory birds. On the winter solstice, the dawning sun shines on a standing Buddha who appears to be emerging from a white egg of polished stone. A popular destination for migratory birds on the Mediterranean Black Sea flyaway is the island of Malta, where a 3-level underground tomb known as the Hypogeum was built around 6,000 years ago. Most of the rooms in the complex are ovate in shape. The winter solstice sunrise shined into the Holy of Holies, the 2nd level, where another room holds the sleeping lady, made up entirely of egg-shaped features. Located near the rare convergence of 3 global bird flyaways, the Great Zimbabwe Ruins is defined by the ovate Great Enclosure, the largest prehistoric megalith found south of the Sahara. Believed to be built about 800 years ago by an unknown Bantu-speaking people, the enclosure's granite walls are 32 feet high. A recent study found 3 bright stars in Orion rise above 3 standing stone pillars at dawn on the winter solstice. 2 global migration flyaways overlap in southeast Ohio, where the Great Serpent Mound is aligned to both solstice and both equinoxes. The snake's mouth grabs onto an egg-shaped mound, much like the constellation Draco located by the celestial pole. In pre-Christian northern Spain, torch-wielding processions lit up the serpentine pilgrimage path known as Camino Santiago, creating a mirror of the Milky Way. Continuing past Santiago to a peninsula at Verona, pagan pilgrims come to an earthly replica of the North Celestial Pole, complete with a nest of stone eggs. The peninsula has long been known as a carrefour, or crossroads, and a place where the winter solstice has been long celebrated. From Africa to Ireland, India and Ohio, it appears the winter solstice was a spectacle of sacred theatre, marking the pivotal point between death and new life, performed in megalithic sites around the world for at least 4,000 years. If you want to learn more about the Church of Birds, I recommend you start with one of our books, Church of Birds by Ben H. Gagon, who also provided the words for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.